Shalom, everyone. This week we are going to be reading in Eretz Yisrael, Parashat Pinchas, and the story of Pinchas is really connected to the end of Parashat Balak, after Bilam tried to curse us 3 times, and every time HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mahapech the bracha, the klala to a bracha. So Bilam comes up with an ingenious plan B, that if he's not able to curse the Bnei Yisrael, he wants to be machshel them b'chet. So he gives Balak the Eitzah, Taiva, from his perspective, to cause the Jewish people to sin in Avodah Zarah and in Zenus with the Bnei Smayav. And this was an awful thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought a Magefa. Thousands and thousands of Yidden were dying. And then we had the Nasi of Shemain, Zimri ben Solu, that is fornicating with the Midianite princess Kozbi Bas Sur. And they do it barabim, and they do it in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. When Moshe Rabbeinu tries to be Mashiach, they say, "Who allowed you to marry Bas Yisrael?" And Pinchas is a zealot for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he kills Kozbi and Zimri, B'shas Maisa, only B'shas Maisa Mamish. And because of his zealousness, Vateotzar HaMagefa, the Magefa stopped, and the Mesim b'Magefa were 24,000 people. Had Pinchas not acted, it would have kept going. Who knows what could have happened? Chas v'shalom. Gans Klal Yisrael could have been wiped out. And the Parashah begins that because Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen acted for my sake, he took away my anger from Bnei Yisrael. Therefore, I give him a covenant of shalom, that he will be the person that will make shalom between Hashem and Am Yisrael. And that's when Pinchas became a Kayin, because although Pinchas was the son of a Kayin, Pinchas was not anointed as Kahuna. And since he was born before Elazar was Nimshach, Pinchas did not have the status of Kayin until he committed this act of Kanais. Now, Pinchas is described as Ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKayin. And Rashi raises the question, why is Pinchas given a lineage going all the way back to his grandfather? So Rashi says, based on Chazal, that Elazar himself, just like Moshe, married a daughter of Yisrael, and therefore Pinchas's maternal grandfather, his mother's father, was Yisrael, and he had been an Oved Avodah Zarah. So the Yidden were complaining, you yourself, your own, Avi Imai, the father of your mother, was Mafatem, Agolim, he would fatten up Agolim for Avodah Zarah. So you yourself come from an idolatrous background. So you think you have the stature, you think you have the Madrega to kill a Nasi Shebi Yisrael. So that is why the Torah says, don't look at Pinchas's grandfather mitzad his mother. Look at Pinchas's grandfather mitzad his father, Ben Elazar, Ben Aaron. And Memela mitzad his father, everything is kosher. The Rashi is a tzarachi, and actually it's a chazal, because how does that answer anything? I mean, if there's a problem with Pinchas's maternal grandfather, you don't get around that problem by simply pointing out he has another grandfather. So I'm not going to be miyashiv the Rashi. One has to learn this be'iyun and go through different meforshim. But I want to share an alternative pshat in the name of the Kesav Sefer, who himself was a great gadol, and he was the son of the great Chasam Sefer. And he says, the way you understand the pasuk is not Pinchas was the son of Elazar, who was the son of Aaron. Rather, both are going back on Pinchas himself. Pinchas had 2 fathers. Pinchas was a genealogical son of Elazar, and Pinchas was a spiritual son of Aaron. Pinchas, the son of Elazar, Pinchas, the spiritual son of his Zaydi Aaron. We know from Pirkei Avos that the midah of Aaron HaKohen was to be Oyev Shalom v'Rodev Shalom, a lover of peace. Oyev Esabriyos, he acted out of love to be Makarev people to Torah Hashem. The Torah is made that Pinchas did not act out of anger, out of temper, out of ego, out of a desire to show his self-righteousness, and Pinchas didn't even act out of anger to the Rasha. Pinchas's sole motivation was Oyev Shalom v'Roidev Shalom. He acted out of Avas Yisrael, to be makarev them to Hashem, to stop the Magefa. And the Torah is teaching me a very important lesson, that if you want to be a kanoi, you want to be zealous for the glory of God, don't do so because you get a kick out of exposing the shortcomings of others. Don't do so because it's geschmack to be megalech chesreinis. Don't do so out of anger. Don't do so out of self-righteousness. The only legitimate motivation for kanois is an avas Hashem and an avas Yisrael, to make shalom between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. And if you're acting out of anger, out of ego, out of gaiva, out of arrogance, out of self-righteousness, that is a pagam, that is a chisaron. Rav Chaim Soloveitchik, Rav Chaim Brisker used to say that some kanoim are like a cat, and some kanoim are like the housewife who buys a cat. Both the housewife and the cat hope if there are mice, the cat will capture the mice. But the housewife would be much happier if there wouldn't be mice to catch. The cat would be disappointed. Rav Chaim says there's a certain kanois that gets a geschmack and a pleasure and an excitement in finding the apikaris of the week. But the emesa kanoi l'shem shemayim gets no pleasure in being megalech chesreinis. He does it because he has to do it. He does it for the benefit of Klal Yisrael, not because he wants to be mavatel, mavayesh, or mavazeh other people. We are entering the 3 weeks in a few days. Shivas Arba Tammuz is Shabbos, but we will be fasting on Sunday. Be'ezus Hashem, if Chas v'Shalom Mashiach doesn't come. And we know that this is the time of year where we focus on Binyan Beis HaMikdash, even though we should think about it the whole year. And we know that Befrat, one of the Iker Sibais of the Churban, is Sinas Chinam, lack of Avas Yisrael. Always looking at the chesreinis of other people, instead of seeing their milas. Yehi Ratzon, as Klal Yisrael is Isaac in contemplating the Churban Beis HaMikdash, and the Sibas for the Churban, and the Eifanim in which we could be Zeicha to a Geula. Let us keep this machshava in mind, like the famous tefillah of the Rebbe Elimelech. We should be Zeicha to see Mailas Chaverei, and not their Chesreinis. And good Shabbos.